I researched you and I found out like you were the dean at Stanford University, like one of the big names. And you were dean for the freshmen, especially like for the young minds. I May I ask, like, did you feel any changes come for the young people at that time, like between 18 and 25, and young people today between 18 and 25? Did you think anything changes in their core behavior, or in which direction you think like the young generation is going today?
I think the years 18 to 22 are years of greatest growth, unparalleled outside of ages 0 to 2. So 0 to 2, we just do so much growing. We go from being a health infant to being a person who can be mobile and walk and run and have language, maybe 0 to 3. And there's so much change that's so rapid. And I think my anecdotal experience is it happens again, 18 to 22. There's, you're leaving home typically, or really behaving differently vis-a-vis with your family. Even if you are still at home, you've got new classes and mentors and peers, and there's an excitement of ideas and discovery, having access to all kinds of topics you didn't have access to in secondary school, because a secondary school can only teach so much, whereas a university, if that's where you are, just has this broad panoply of subjects you can take a class in or decide to make your major, your focus, your concentration. So it's a very combustive period in a good sense. And I think that's when it's not the first opportunity, but it's another major opportunity to say, wait a minute, who am I?
Yes, yeah, I do.
What am I good at? What do I love? I mean, I think we have those conversations with ourselves when we're younger. In fact, one of the interesting things in this book, Harpreet, is the number of people who had a real aha moment when they were 14. Irshad Manji, a queer woman who's Muslim and helps people have difficult conversations, grew up in Canada, originally from Uganda. She says, I was 14 when I got kicked out of the madrasa for asking questions I wasn't supposed to ask. And she got kicked out on Saturdays, no longer allowed at the madrasa. So she went to the library instead and just began reading everything she could across many different subjects. And she had that hunger at 14 to figure out how was she going to reconcile these seemingly irreconcilable questions that were coming up for her in the study of Islam. And then another 14-year-old, Hannah, a wealthy white girl who lived in Atlanta, Georgia, here in the US, she realized at 14, there are homeless people in my town, and yet my family has a huge house. Like, why is that? How is that fair? How is that equitable? And she convinced her family to sell this big house and buy a different house, smaller, and take the proceeds and give them to a useful cause. And she had that stirring in her from this place of tremendous privilege at age 14. And there was someone else who was 14. It was like, oh my God, 14. So, clearly there are these moments in life when we have this reckoning with ourselves. A 2-year-old knows, a 3-year-old knows, I want to tie my shoes. And when a parent's like, let me do it, they're like, no, I'm going to do it. And that insistence is still in us at 14 and 18 and 25 and 29, until we are finally that adult who's like, you know what? I'm taking care of business. My family may not understand it, but I know what I'm about. I'm able to pay my bills. I'm living in communities where I feel belonging. I feel I can be the identity that I am without worrying about what other people think. Like, we come to this clarity of who we are and what we want. And then, Harpreet, the prayer, whatever religion a person may be, or if not religious, the ask of the universe is, I have finally figured myself out. Please let me live long enough now with this knowledge, because life has just started to really sing.
So beautiful. So beautiful. Thank you, Julie. Because let me tell you, that age group between 18 and 22, that was the also age group for me as well. Like, when I started asking questions for myself, what I'm gonna do. And then I decided to come here in Canada. So that was like also one of the major decisions I took in my life.
Are you doing what you want to do?
I started, like, now I'm alone. I read your story. You mentioned like at the age of 27 in probably like 1995, you were doing your best, you were had a good job, you
As a
were,
lawyer, yes.
yes, and you were getting praise for your achievements from the people around you. And you were also like financially and emotionally supported by your parents. I'm in that scenario now. Like I was, I'm always being okay, like financially and everything. My parents love me. They always bring everything that could bring happiness in my life. And suddenly I decided to come in Canada. I'm all alone, single. My family is all in India. So I'm trying to figure out, but I think I'm now doing everything. I I'm also people's person. That's why I started YouTube channel. That's why I can now connect with people. And so this is, I think, one of the mini step I took.
I love it. What are you studying?
I studied already. I did bachelor's in civil engineering and
Okay.
I study. I'm now doing a job here in Canada. Like,
What kind of job?
so this is like a hydrogeological technician. It's a civil job. You study water underground before construction. Like whenever you construct big buildings, you have to study soils and water. I do participate in that.
Okay, and you like it?
I like that. I also like my YouTube stuff. I also want to make this bigger as much.
Yes, good, good. Well, I wish you luck in that, and I'm glad that you're enjoying the civil engineering stuff and understanding water is so important. You're talking to me here in California, where we
Yes, yeah.
count on the aqueducts and the rainfall is not enough, and we are in this terrible drought, and water is
Yeah.
obviously essential to life. You know that. Everybody listening knows that. So I'm glad that you're in that work, and I hope it continues to be challenging and exciting for you, even as you do this important YouTube work. Yeah. So listen, I think I'm so glad you found me. It sounds like we're wrapping up, right?
Yeah, I just have one
Yeah.
question to ask. Like, I was watching your YouTube video of TED Talk, and first of all, like, congratulations on like crossing 2 million views on that video. Like, I love it. Like,
There's actually, sound like I'm bragging now, but if you go on the YouTube on the TED site, I'm close to 6 million now.
wow, like that's such a huge.
I'm very
Like,
proud of myself, and I'm
oh,
bragging, but yes, on the YouTube site it's close to 2, but on the TED site it's close to 6.
wow,
So
that's
yeah.
so amazing.